Another thing that has bothered me is that our Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, is very fond of saying, and along with Mrs. Gallant, that we don't cut and run. We don't cut and run. Well, that sounds good. And in one way, they are correct. That when we send our soldiers to Afghanistan, they do not cut and run. They know who the enemy is, and they're there to engage the enemy. But who does cut and run is Mrs. Gallant and the Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, when it comes to adequately looking after our soldiers, our veterans. Let me explain. We send our soldiers over to Afghanistan to fight on our behalf, and when they come back to Canada, they have to engage in another fight. And who are they fighting? They're fighting their own government for proper compensation for anything that has happened over Afghanistan. If they get injured over in Afghanistan, whether it's a physical injury or an emotional injury, and you know with PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, it's a very viable injury, and to get properly compensated, I mean, wow, it is just a mess with the government. The government in some instances will offer you $250,000, a lump sum, just as if, okay, we'll give you the $250,000 and then we just wipe our hands of you and you're out of sight, out of mind. But what they don't explain in many instances to that young soldier coming home from Afghanistan is that there's another option. The other option is a pension plan where there's some stability. Because with a pension, it'll go on for years and years and years. It'll go on for decades to the end of their life. And that's the way it should be. But the $250,000 that they offer as a lump sum sounds very enticing, and they know that. So they know that in a lot of instances, those young soldiers will grab the $250,000. But the pension plan is the way that they should go, but they don't head down that road, the government, and they don't properly explain it to them. So that in itself tells me that Mr. Harper and Mrs. Gallant really are not properly looking after our troops.